Doctor reacts to the Lunchly controversy. Okay, it's going to be interesting to see if he can tell us if this shit's bad for. I mean, it's going to be bad. It's fucking processed food. It's not exactly going to be healthy, is it? But take it away, Dr.
KSI, Mr. Beast, and Logan Paul have announced they were teaming up and launching a new food product called Lunchly to compete with the uber popular kids brand Lunchables. And the reception has been less than stellar. Many creators took to social media to criticize the product and the creators themselves. Logan and Jimmy were quick to push back on the critics with their own posts, and in the process created newsworthy headlines like,
YouTube stars are coming for your kids' lunch. It's a move that has Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and
kind of sounded like he said YouTube stars are coming in your kids' lunch, but
push back on the critics with their own posts, and in the process created newsworthy headlines like,
YouTube stars are coming for your kids' lunch. It's a move that has Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI teaming up to take on Lunchables.
And I usually don't make videos discussing creators' products, but when terms like healthier or
there we go. I knew it said healthier.
Get tossed around.
There was a thing in the chat earlier on the previous video when we looked at KSI's video that they said they're not promoting it as healthy, but they are. They're saying healthier, which is a clever way around it, saying it's not healthy, it's healthier. It's like freebase cocaine is healthier than crack cocaine.
I feel it's important to set the record straight. So, in the spirit of avoiding personal attacks, let's take a look at the science of Lunchly, including a true issue with their kits I don't think anyone has correctly pointed out yet.
Okay,
for those who may not know, Lunchables are basically these pre-packaged, do-it-yourself meal kits. They've usually got things like crackers,
we never had these in the UK. We had similar things. I'd have definitely eaten this shit sometimes for lunch as a kid. Definitely.
Meats, cheeses, treats, and come with a little drink. And since their inception, they've been super popular with kids. However, it's been known, especially by experts, that while these kits are fun and tasty, their nutritional value is just not good. They're often too high in sodium, saturated fat, and added sugars, and don't use healthy whole food ingredients. And because they fall into the category of ultra-processed foods, they aren't healthy to consume often, period. Studies actually show that those consuming high amounts of UPFs can have up to 50% higher risk of developing obesity.
100%, surely.
And some specific UPFs are linked to increases in cancer. I see it even in my clinic. So many of my pediatric patients are over-consuming UPFs, and it's becoming a growing problem across the country. Consumer Reports even dedicated a special feature highlighting the problems with Lunchables and why they shouldn't be consumed regularly due to health risks. My own take on Lunchables, I don't recommend parents pack them for their kids on a daily basis. A low-quality food with poor nutritional value. But now what about Lunchly? Starting with the first claim, in the press release announcing the product, Logan Paul was quoted as saying Lunchly is a healthier alternative.
He's very, very clever with the wording here. Healthier alternative. Not healthy, healthier alternative. The devil's in the details.
And that it's a better for you lunch option compared to Lunchables. In fact, throughout the Lunchly website, and
you could say that if you had the exact same product and you did like 1 gram less of saturated fat, or in this case sodium, which is ironic because that's what Prime's missing.
You'll see countless comparisons being made to Lunchables.
So it's healthier. They can say that in terms of legal marketing. I believe that's fine.
And don't make much sense to me, but maybe that's because I'm not the target demo. Flavorful combos versus standard picks. The meal kit combos are nearly identical to Lunchables. Big gestures versus mid moments. I certainly don't remember that lesson in my nutrition classes. I was more concerned with the nutritional comparisons being made anyway. So if someone was to make a healthy meal kit for kids, I would find that incredibly valuable. And in looking in the comparison, I'd be most interested in calories, which they have, protein, which they have, sugar, which they have, saturated fat, which is missing, and sodium, which is not only missing, but replaced by electrolytes. And unlike all the other macros, is only labeled potassium and only in the Prime bottle in the kit, comparing it to the Capri Sun in the Lunchables. This is a pretty weird marketing choice to label electrolytes in food products. It's such a strange choice that it even stunned fellow Dr. Brian Suterer, who tweeted,
"Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day."
Although there isn't
sadly,
sodium
it was a shame to see Logan attack.
That's a great Logan Paul. Easy win for him there because there isn't sodium in the Prime, which is why it doesn't work as a hydration drink. And so this doctor was saying that they were rephrasing the sodium, which is in those the food kit as electrolytes, but it wasn't. So he should have done his research better there.
Instead of starting a meaningful dialogue with the doctor, given that 400
Capri-Sun
milligrams
instead of
is
Capri-Sun
not
is
the
wild.
amount of electrolytes in Prime, at least in the image that Logan shared, 400 milligrams of potassium plus 5 milligrams of sodium equals 405 milligrams of electrolytes. It's not about nitpicking, it's just about being reasonable and honest to help further the conversation. Look, if I want to decide if a food is right for me, I like to be able to compare the entire electrolyte profile, which would have to include sodium. It's like having a PB&J sandwich label that says what's in the sandwich, protein, fats, calories, but then the sugar line only tells you what's in the peanut butter as opposed to the jelly in the entire sandwich. I wanted to go further and do the comparisons myself using the nutrition facts from the Lunchables and Lunchly websites, and it's honestly really hard to draw perfectly clear conclusions for several reasons. One, I don't have nutrition facts for each part of the kits. For example, how many calories come from Feastables versus the food component? Second, some of the portion sizes aren't the same.
This is an issue with basically every type of food that has nutritional data, which they all do. Like, it's different in America to here, I'm sure. There must be different laws around it, but they do stuff based on like a made-up serving size, so it can seem like on a frozen pizza, it'll be like calories 500, but it's actually serving size half a pizza. And it's like, who's buying a frozen pizza and eating half of it? So there's all sorts of little tricks that they run like that. So I don't know the exact laws, of course, between the nutritional data in UK, then EU, then US. I'm sure there's some different things going on here, but there's always little tricks and plays going on there, always.
The turkey cracker kit from Lunchables is 82
Serving
grams,
size system is
while
insane,
Lunchly's is 72 grams.
Sorry.
3, there's a
Sorry,
food
Dr. Mate.
component.
Crashing your
Second, some of the
vocals.
portion sizes aren't the same. The turkey cracker kit from Lunchables is 82 grams, while Lunchly's is 72 grams.
So their nutritional data is like averaged out on their website? Okay.
3, there are so many varieties of Lunchables that just swapping out the flavor of Capri Sun caused significant differences in sugar and calorie content.
Right.
What I was able to conclude is that Lunchly has less sugar and therefore less calories than Lunchables in comparable kits.
And that'll
That's
be from the
probably
drinks,
due to the
right?
drink component
Yeah.
of the kit, as Capri Sun uses sugar and
Capri Sun, wild pronunciation.
Prime is artificially sweetened. Lunchly has significantly more potassium than Lunchables because of the Prime drink, which I guess is good, but not something I'd regularly use in deciding if a food is an ideal lunch for a kid. Lunchly has slightly less sodium and saturated fat than comparable Lunchables. That's definitely moving in the right direction, however, both differences were fairly small. Lunchly does use real cheese as opposed to cheese product, signaling that at least one ingredient is less processed than in Lunchables, but the entirety of the kit is still considered an ultra-processed meal. Lunchly has higher amounts of A and B vitamins, which can be good, but also can be problematic as vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and kids can easily overconsume it, leading to toxicity. Being that it's fat-soluble means that you can't just urinate excess out.
Okay. Didn't know that.
This has actually been raised as an issue by experts with Prime in general. Despite these legitimate upgrades, social media posts are slamming Lunchly for not being perfect. But Lunchly does not need to be perfect to be valuable for kids. It just needs to be significantly healthier in order to reduce risk. As a doctor, I use risk reduction all the time, essentially taking something harmful and replacing it with something less harmful, but still imperfect. As an example, I would never recommend starting vaping, but getting someone to replace smoking cigarettes with vaping is generally a good step down in terms of health risk. Knowing all that,
Sounds like you're trying to get me to vape, mate. I'm not going to do it.
is it fair to say that Lunchly is healthier? I guess one can say yes, but honestly, probably more so as a marketing tactic. The reason why? Well, let's look at the recently passed nutrition standards set forth by the USDA for school lunches and see how Lunchly compares. Going line by line here. Less than 10% of calories should come from saturated fat. Lunchly turkey, 23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4 comes from added sugars. But this is where things get really interesting, and for
Okay, this is interesting, but these like food standards have been problematic for years. The old food pyramid, massively, massively problematic. Well, I was saying the most important thing to eat was carbohydrates. So I take that with a pinch of salt. Pinch of fucking salt. See what I did there?
for some reason, no one has pointed this out. You see, USDA caloric
Do I
guidelines.
smoke cigs? I haven't smoked cigs. Oh yeah, it might sound like he was asking me to switch from cigarettes to vapes. I was joking. It made it sound like I should just start vaping. I used to smoke cigarettes from 18 I started at 18, quit when I was 22, so 20 years ago. So thankfully I managed to quit.
Say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Kids need energy to function, and calories give them that energy. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly...
Okay, but nobody's sending them off to school with 2.5 fucking lunchlies, are they? So it's interesting. She's saying it's too low in calories
over the USDA standards. So they'd be either under-eating calories or overeating sodium. Finally, the grain guidelines state that 80% of lunch meals must be whole grain, and Lunchly turkey does not list any whole grain ingredients. It's clear Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion. That being said, I do think many criticisms pointed at
My boy, he's had too many Lunchables. My boy, the real Rizzler.
KSI and Jimmy are unfair. Attacking them for trying to create a successful influencer product isn't inherently problematic. I just think if a company was truly interested in creating a healthier lunch kit for kids, the USDA standards should be the minimum starting requirements. Otherwise, we're simply propagating the problem even further. One of my hopes is that in navigating the future feedback on this company, the guys hire a health professional to guide them.
No, they're not going to, because they only care about making money. It's to combat, that was the word that was used in a previous video. It is a product to combat Lunchables. That's what it is. And it's a product to turn them further and further into ultra-processed food tycoons to make billions of pounds. It is not a product to better the health of the American youth. It's not a product to put something great out there for their fans. It's none of these things. And it cannot be argued that it is. It is a play to use their incredible reach, incredible notoriety to create a product that some of the, to be honest, what's strange is I don't know what the age range is of people who eat Lunchables. I guess Mr. Beast fans run quite young. The other two, I'd imagine most of their fans are like teens to 20s now. So that's the play I think it is.
Messaging more accurate. I just saw someone ask about heavy metal contamination, and Logan responded with a video of an X-ray machine checking for foreign materials. That checks for stray objects accidentally getting into the meals, not heavy metal contaminations like we discussed earlier with Lunchables.
Logan Paul's a fucking piece of work, mate. He really is.
Than lead. And saying a food has more electrolytes, therefore it must be better or healthier, is just not true. Foods with an incredibly high sodium content and electrolyte are not considered particularly healthy. In fact, many are considered unhealthy for that reason. I can't expect non-medical people to get this perfect, but if you're gonna stand by a children's food product being healthy, you need to hold your message.
You gotta be careful, bro. Honestly, as a former journalist and still kinda, this means quotation marks, right? And at no point, they've been very careful with this. Very careful. At no point have they called this product healthy. They've called it healthier. They've called it healthier alternative. But they've not called it healthy, because that actually has a different definition. A lot of people have now taken quotation marks to put it around something that means he's kinda saying that. And it may change definition in time, because shit changes definition. But punctuation marks shouldn't change definition. They really should just mean the things that they mean. They should be defined. So when you're doing that and saying they're saying healthy, borderline, you could get yourself in trouble, because they're not.
Messaging to a higher standard. Eating a diet full of UPFs can lead to weight gain. Click here to see the harsh reality of life at 800 pounds. And as always, stay happy and healthy.
Good on you, Dr. Mike.